Okay, is he gonna die or not, man? What does that mean?
Wall Street Journal, the president's physician, Dr. Sean Barbabella, basically said the test looked.
Brand new insights today into the health of President Donald Trump.
All right, we're gonna talk about Donald Trump dying. Okay, potentially. He is obviously the healthiest any president has ever been. No other president has been just as healthy. No one has ever come close to the level of health demonstrated and the physical fitness demonstrated by our big, beautiful president. Let's be real, okay? Let's be real.
Wall Street Journal reached out to the White House with reporting that said those close to the president say he is showing signs of aging. This led the president to give the Journal an impromptu interview, an interview that was published today. Now, the president told the Wall Street Journal his excessive hand bruising is caused by the amount of aspirin he takes, saying it's more than his doctors recommend. He says he regrets getting advanced imaging because it generated so much scrutiny over his health. He also denies falling asleep during events like this one you see here, saying he's simply, quote, blinking. While at the same time, he admits he's, quote, never been a big sleeper at night. Now, we also learned the president will not be exercising as part of his New Year's resolution. He called it boring. CNN's Elena Treen starts us off today. And Elena, let's step back for a moment. What are some of the specific concerns the Journal outlines that people close to the president have had related to age?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, I mean, the falling asleep.
Don't listen to the doctor, Trump. Don't do it. You know better.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing.
You know better, Mr. Trump. Mr. President, you know the most. You have the best brain. You are big and beautiful. Do not listen to the silly, woke, gay doctors. And what is the gayest? Medical advice. Ugh, okay.
Dozing off. I know, I love that line. It's like I say that when I'm like, can stay up too late with my friends.
I hate
I'm just
exercising
resting my
too.
eyes.
You're right.
And he's the president, very defensive when it comes to questions about his health. But that's also led a lot of people, particularly people in the press, but I think the American public too, wondering if he's being fully transparent and sufficiently transparent, really, with the medical information that he provides. So I thought this was a great look at it. And this one thing, really quickly, I don't know if we have the quote, but I just need to read it because I think
aspirin on blood.
Yes, it's the
Okay,
aspirin on blood.
Yes.
I think this was an amazing quote that Trump gave them because he says his doctor said he takes 325 milligrams of aspirin a day. Trump says it's because he wants to thin the blood. He said this to the Journal. He said, quote, they say aspirin is good for thinning the blood and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. He went on to say, I want nice thin blood pouring through my heart. Again, he also said that he's not taking or he's taking a higher dose of aspirin than his doctors want.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that our president is that kind of guy. That is so sick. No, come on. I mean, he's the perfect guy for the moment. He is the perfect president for this very moment. Respect. God damn it, that's amazing. Guy who believes his life is his like there's a life force in him as a battery, and he is depleting it when he does any physical activity. Guy who's like, oh, I want my blood to be thin. I don't want it to be thick. No thick blood for me. That motherfucker has the nuclear launch codes, bro. Hell yeah.
Also was told to wear compression socks because of the swelling in his legs. He said he tried that, doesn't like it, so he's not doing that either.
Can we pull up the full screen real quick of the quote? Because it's at the very end that I think is the best part, where he's explaining his theory of the case and then asks the reporter.
It's also funny because, like, evil never dies, right? So he just kind of, like, it doesn't really matter. He can do whatever he wants, eat all the junk food, as this article showed, as we already suspected, as we kind of knew. He just exclusively eats, like, McDonald's and dog shit.
Now, what's your favorite thing here, Mr. President?
I like it all. It's all good stuff.
Do you
Great American food.
Does not work out at all. Barely gets any activity. I mean, I guess he golfs a lot, so that's better than people his age, if we're being real, if we're being honest. He's got to smell so bad, dude. I just don't think he's going anywhere. It is pretty funny to me, a Turkish man, to watch Americans experience something that I think maybe even Russians and Turks and people in like other countries have felt, right? Like this is a classic thing that people who feel like it's not Hungarians, sure. People just go, oh, I hate that this motherfucker is still in charge. He's just dominating everything. him. Why won't he die? And then they never do. Okay. They never do. Evil never dies. But it is funny. It is funny that Americans are now experiencing that very common feeling.
Does that make sense? Yeah. And you're like, well, I mean, I guess sort of the way you're explaining it, yes, but not according to the medical. Okay, we're just going to let this one go. This is his theory of the case. He believes it, and that's why he does what he does.
He also said, which is very true about Trump, he said, I'm very superstitious, which we know. Trump is a very superstitious man. He said, I've always been taking aspirin. He always believed it would help him prevent a heart attack, and so he's sticking with it.
It was a great piece. It was a thorough piece. By the way,
golf is a sport for rich people to claim their high status. Yeah, but the reality is if you're like 80 plus years old like Trump is, any kind of walking that you're doing on a golf course is pretty solid. Like a lot of people at that age are not doing anything, right? I know he uses a cart, but the moments that he's even standing up and walking around, that's still better than other people his age because we forget how old he is. Guys, he is very old. You're forgetting how old he is. For someone who is that old, that's a decent amount of activity. He's not as sedentary as other people his age are. 79-year-olds are not, doing anything.
The president engaging on the piece actually made the piece a lot better, a lot more fulsome.
Absolutely.
Something that the Biden team could have probably done in the 4 years prior. Let's discuss now with Dr. Jonathan Reiner, professor of medicine and surgery at George Washington University. He's also a CNN medical analyst. Doctor, really appreciate your time. Just last month, you said you were seriously concerned about the president's health. What's your level of concern after hearing from the president who says he's in perfect health?
Well, I'm mostly concerned that the public really hasn't been told essentially anything meaningful about the president's health here. So let's turn the clock back and look what's gone on over the last 9 months. The president had a physical exam, a comprehensive physical.
See, my grandpa golfed and he lived to be 98. There you go. There you go. Look how slender he looks too. He looks hot. I believe him. I think he should do whatever he's doing and not listen to the medical professionals. Okay.
To read. And, they listed a bunch of studies, which were essentially all normal. The president was great. And there was nothing else to see. Over the summer, the president developed really greatly swollen ankles, which prompted another series of tests. They called that chronic venous insufficiency, despite the fact that just a few months earlier during his comprehensive exam, the president's physician said he had no swelling of the leg. So it doesn't sound so chronic to me. It sounds more acute. And then something happened in the fall. Something happened in October that prompted an off.
Oh, yeah. I run a Trump golf tracking website. He visited his golf club several times, but didn't golf at all in December. This was the first month he went without golfing. So something could be a problem for Trump. When he stops golfing, that's when you know there might be an issue. Because remember, there was a point where he stopped golfing because he was worried that he's going to get assassinated. Like there was like a month-long period after Ryan Ruth, and he just looked so sad. He had to go into energy saving mode. Yeah, he had to put the battery on low battery mode. Lower the brightness a little bit, make sure that he's not firing off on all cylinders. So we'll see.
Cycle series of tests by the president's medical team. And when the results of those were released to the public, they used some basically euphemisms to describe what the president, the test the president went through. And the euphemism was advanced imaging. And they didn't describe whether it was a CT or an MR. And then later on, a few days later on Air Force One, the president basically said he had an MRI. Couldn't describe what body part, but he said he had an MRI, which prompted the president's physician again to release another statement, at which time he again did not describe the specific test the president underwent and said that, again, everything looked fine. And now we learn that the president didn't have an MRI. He actually had a CT scan, which explains why the president's physician didn't describe the test after the president disclosed his MRI, because he didn't have an MRI. So as best we can tell, the president had a cardiac CT, or what looks like a CT angiogram, which is basically a non-invasive way to tell whether the president has any significant coronary artery disease. And in his statement to...
Okay, is he going to die or not, man? What does that mean?
Wall Street Journal, the president's physician, Dr. Sean Barbabella, basically said the test looked great. There was no abnormality, which actually doesn't correlate with what Dr. Ronnie Jackson told the public in 2018 when he disclosed that the president had a similar CT scan that showed the presence of coronary calcium, which is a marker of coronary artery disease. So I'm almost less concerned about the actual cause of the president's bruising. We can talk about that than I am about why the White House medical team has felt the need to study him in the last few months. What symptoms, what clinical concerns have prompted this? Because the president is right. When you test the president of the United States,
He heals himself with aspirin. True. It turns out it's not that he didn't want you to be autistic. He wanted all of it for himself. He wanted all of it. It's not even aspirin, it's Tylenol. He's taking all the Tylenol.
it creates a lot of concern, and rightfully so.
What the president said about aspirin, which has gotten a lot of attention, taking more aspirin than what his doctors are recommending, and his rationale for doing so, which is, he said, quote, "They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart." Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that makes no sense.
Shut up. What do you know? He's the president. Okay, what are you, a doctor? Yeah? Okay, well, doctors, they read a lot and they learn, and reading and learning is gay. And fuck you. He's the president, has a higher place in American society, so he knows more. I trust him.
Makes nonsense. So first of all, when we use any kind of anticoagulant, medications to prevent clotting, those don't thin the blood. It's not like changing something from gumbo to chicken soup. It doesn't make
Yeah, you know who else was a doctor? Dr. Fauci. Now he's in prison.
it doesn't make it thinner. It makes you less likely to clot. And it used to be that we would treat a lot of people with aspirin therapy to prevent heart attacks. But we've learned in recent years that particularly people over the age of 70, not only is there no benefit in terms of just primary prevention, trying to prevent a cardiac event by giving them aspirin, that there can be hazard, and the hazard can be bleeding, significant bleeding. So here's the interesting thing about this. The president apparently is taking 325 milligrams of aspirin per day, which is essentially one adult-size aspirin tablet. But the dosage that we use for patients, even with documented coronary artery disease, is a quarter of that, is 81 milligrams per day. So why is the president taking, an unorthodox dose of aspirin? And the media has published, many photos of his right hand and now maybe his left hand with this chronic bruise. The White House has said that this is related to, chronic aspirin therapy. So if you're bruising a lot and your doctor says you're on too much aspirin, why wouldn't you go down to the lower dose? It makes no sense to me.
Dr. Jonathan Reiner, that was actually a very helpful and nuanced explanation of a lot of things people have been talking about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, boring. Boo. 325 milligrams is what they give someone during a cardiac event to help. Yeah, well, what if Trump is having a cardiac event every day? Checkmate, atheist. My grandfather smoked, ate McDonald's all day, never exercised, and he lived to be 700 years old. Nice, skinny blood. The best kind of blood. I'm so skinny, just like my blood is. You don't understand it. You're wrong.